Hello, everybody, and welcome to Weighted to Win. It's a very special weekend for us as we go into the very last Saturday of the season. Can you believe our time absolutely flies? It's unreal where we are at the moment. And Marshall World of Sport take on the Gold Cup Day as the official sponsors for the finale of the season. And it's a pleasure, of course, from the team to welcome Joe Soma'S to Weighted to Win. It's your first appearance. We haven't been around that long, Joe, but it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks very much. Yeah, only the very elite are allowed on your show here with Darren and Daryl. I don't know if that's true or not. I believe it is true, but I was just a little bit upset that you waited so long to invite me.
Well, ask Daryl and Darren why it's taken so long. Daryl and Darren, what's the answer to Joe? The best for last.
Only a special invite, eh, Clyde?
Special invitation.
Yeah.
Thank you, boys. Thanks very much.
It's good to have you with us, Joe. And yeah, Daryl and Darren have been working hard at tipping and studying the form, etc. We have a look at it when we can and try and get the patrons into the winner's queue as urgently or as much as possible. It's not easy, you know, the game is tough. I mean, you've been around for such a long time. But I think the season for you, albeit challenging with all of the circumstances, I think it's been a fruitful season for you. How have you summed it up?
Just first and foremost, I'd just like to say that I am a great follower of Weighted to Win, one of the few racing shows that I do listen to, especially through this past season. So while I'm on the show, I'd just like to thank, obviously, you for putting this together and your two esteemed partners or chaps that tipsters that you bring on the show. I think it's one of the few shows that the three of you talk a lot of sense.
Thank you, Joe.
Right.
Thank you, Joe.
We're right.
Yeah, we're back with you. Yeah.
I don't know, we've got a great connection here because I am in Hillcrest at the moment.
I know you in Durban. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just want to say to you chaps, to DARRYN BOROUGHS and MAREE, who I've obviously known for a long time, thank you for what you're doing, number one. I think that you are probably maybe the show a little bit with Vika Kritsiotis and Neil Andrews are the only ones that maybe keep the little bit of passion that we've all got left, a little bit of the fire burning in the game that I think we all love and are so passionate about. But in saying that, it's become harder and harder to keep that flame alive, to keep that passion where we want it to be. It's become a very, very difficult game to enjoy. And so my hat, honestly, tip my hat to the three of you for really trying your best to do what you're doing and talk sense. It's so nice to hear people talking sense. So nice to hear a man tip a horse, but there's a reason why he's tipping that horse. It's not because it's number so-and-so, or he likes this trainer, or he loves that jockey. Give us some form of a form that comes into it. And as you know, you chaps have been playing the game for a long time. So once again, accolades to you chaps. Keep it up and hope that we can. Yeah, it's going to be hard, but I hope we can keep this game going through the next season.
Thank you, Joe. That's very kind of you from the team. Listen, it's only passion that drives us. As you know, we're not remunerated for this, but we miss it. We miss being part of it. We miss being in there. And it's all passion driven, really, at the end of the day. So we saw the gap in the market ultimately for a tipping show to give punters information as best we can in terms of studying the book and providing that knowledge. But you're right, we do miss it. We want to be part of it, and we hope that, you know, in the very near future that we will be. So let's see where we end up in this space. But from a season perspective, with the horses that you've got, etc., Joe, how have you summarized the season for you from your perspective?
No, you know, when I took out my license, my late brother, Gabby's father, Gary, and my father always used to come and pat me on the back and say, "Well done, you lasted another season." So that's what every year. I think where we are to last in this game, especially, and I am going to harp on it about it quite often, because I think that I think the people that are in running racing have to hide their heads in shame. I think that to survive the season. Once again, I pat myself on the back. But it's a very small yard. You got to understand. So we've only, at the moment, we've got 37 horses. I harp on it because I actually very proud of my stable and very proud of what we achieved. Of the 37 horses, 13 are yearlings, and there's 10 unraced girls that are turning 3. So we basically racing with a very small string.
You're racing with 10 horses, effectively.
Basically 10, 11 horses. Obviously got the Greenlight is holds us in the high, keeps us in the spotlight all the time, and feel that we've done a fantastic job with him. But we've also won 2 other feature races with African Adventure. We got 2 babies running on Saturday. So to go to Champions Day, last day of the season, with 4 horses that are fancied, got big chances. I think that we've had a fantastic season. We were very quiet in the early part of the season, but that's obviously with a small string of horses.
Yeah.
Clyde, I've said it once, I'll say it once, and I've said it 100 times or millions of times, and I'll say it again. A good trader needs 200 horses, but a great trainer only needs 37 horses.
You're right at the top. You're right. He doesn't need 37. He's only got 10.
37.
He only got 10, so it's fine.
But the point I'm making is the reason why I say it is that we've got to keep the smaller yards going in this game. Without the smaller yards, the game is going to fade away quickly. We're going to end up in a Zimbabwean situation where you've got Steedolf against Swanson. You might have 3, 4 other trainers in the. It's happening in Cape Town at the moment. I'm sure DARRYL will let us know as well if I'm right or wrong. But if we don't watch out now, to take this game forward, and we don't start making right decisions now, we are going to be playing this game with maybe De Kock, Terry Snaith, Bass Robinson, Paul Peter. That's where the game's going to go to, So hopefully that someone's listening out there. That's why we don't open our mouths. No one's going to hear us, but hopefully someone in a big seat or a cushy seat is hearing us. My wish for this coming season is that all the powers, the boys that run racing, can leave their egos at the door, and let's start putting the horse first and start putting the punter second. And if once you look after those 2 participants in the game, horse and punter, the game looks after itself after that. So that's why I'm on the show. Let's try and fire some on Saturday, make the punters happy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to discuss going forward. And there's 1 or 2 other things that I'd like to discuss with you chaps at the end of the show. Maybe we can grab their attention, and then maybe we can make another change at the end of the show. But
okay,
once chaps for listening to me, I'm hopping on. But as much as I love the game, I know the 3 of you here love it as much as me, and I'm sure you all agree with me that all we want is the game to be as strong as possible.
Absolutely, Joe. Thank you. Appreciate that very much indeed. And that's exactly what we want, is only the best for the game, and that's why we do what we do. And we know at the end of the day, you don't mince your words. We're prepared for what you have to say. And, at the end, who's got anything to hide? So this is what it's about, Weighted to Win, finding winners, and ultimately, hopefully, we can get it back to flourish one more time. On the screen at the moment, right now, I've only got those changes. I mean, remember, we are recording this late Thursday evening. So for those that are watching, you'll notice that the scratches will be quite a few more, I'm sure, as time comes through. It's particularly with regards to the reserve runners, but that's what we've got for you at the moment. Just so that you know, the track condition itself, so that you can have a look at that, is good. They've had in the last 24 hours about 5 mils of irrigation, 30 mils in the last 7 days. So they're looking at a pen of 23 with a false rail of 4 meters when you turn for home. It's a big one because you are going to be at HOLLYWOODBETS GREYVILLE, going to be having a look at integrating with Hong Kong pools. And so watch out for those. The bipot, there's a 50,000 Rand carryover with an expectancy of 500,000. The PA expected to get to 1.2. The pick 6 is expected to get about 15 million. The jackpot, so the first jackpot to 1.5, the second jackpot to 500,000, and don't forget about the quartet 1 million Rand carryover in the Marshall's World of Sport Gold Cup, which is a 4 million Rand anticipated number. Okay, so that takes care of the formalities in that regard. The first leg of the Pick Six we go to right now, which is race number 4 on the card, and we'll start with that particular event. And if I may, I have had a look, and I thought I just wanted to ask you guys what you all think. But I'm rating Dice as the horse to beat. I think, and I'll start with, if I may, with you, Darren. I like the way this horse has run, and he's certainly my first choice.
He's definitely. I've narrowed this race down to 4 runners: Dice, Gallic Chief, Isivunga Vunga, and It's About Time. Dice, I was surprised they dropped him back in trip to 1,000 meters last time out. He is looking for a bit further, and he won his maiden in fine style. Even previous to that, running second to William Robertson, that form line standing up strong. So I do believe he'll be very competitive. But I'm leaning towards Gallic Chief. He's running the gold medallion over 1,200 meters. He tried to savage another horse next to him, but he stayed on really nicely towards the end of the race. And last time out over the 1,400 meter trip, he was drawn 13 out of 13, and he never got across. So I put a line through that run, and he drops back to the 1,200. So I think he's got ability, and from a decent enough draw, he's a horse to beat over Isivunga Vunga, who ran half a length off him in the gold medallion, only having his second start, and there's more to come. And then It's About Time's got a bit of a deep draw, but I think he's got ability and should be right there.
Yeah, Darren, you make a valid point, Darryl, with regards to Dice. I think, was that just a sharpen up for that 1,000, that last start?
It
for
could have been
a race. You think it would have been? Yeah. So Darryl, would you agree with that summary?
Yeah, Clyde, that was a good effort on his behalf, because he gave an up-and-coming sprinter a big fright up until the final 100 meters. Master Archie looks like he's a decent sprinter in the making. And there is some line of form over here between, some collateral form between Dice and Gaelic Chief and Isivunga Vunga. If you just go back to that run when he ran second behind William Robertson. Now, William Robertson and Bard of Avon have a line of form with Gaelic Chief and Isivunga Vunga. So on paper, there's not much separating them. I like the look of Isivunga Vunga. Now, he beats a moderate field on debut. And look at the progress he made from run 1 to run 2. He didn't disgrace himself in a grade 1. He finished right up alongside them. So if he's progressed further since then, I think he's the horse to beat. If he just repeats that level of form, he'll be right there. Healthy respect for Gaelic Chief. I think you can just put a line through his latest efforts. He went far too quick. I like the fact that he's having his peak run and back in trip. Warren Kennedy knows him extremely well. I'm leaning towards Gaelic Chief and Isivunga Vunga, and then Dice my third pick.
Okay. Joe, if I can bring you in here, what would you predict in terms of the first leg of the Pick Six? How many horses would you need to be safe? I personally like Dice very much. But in your opinion, how many horses are we safe with here?
I think you're going to need about 4 or 5. I must be honest. Like I said in the beginning of the show, I'm with experts here, so there's not one, not one horse that perhaps discussed that I don't like. I think I would like to, add most of them in. I think they've made a strong case for all the horses that they do like. I thought Gaelic Chief was badly ridden last time from the 13 draw. He really went very, very fast, caused a lot of interference because he was wobbling in the last sort of 100, 150 meters. So obviously coming back to the 1,200, it has to be a big runner. Just worried if the run took something out of him. That's the only thing that does worry me, because I thought he had a very hard race. But I like the horse you like, Clyde. I like Dice, and I'll tell you why. Hasn't been around the turn, and yet in his last start, I think by putting him back in 1,000 meters might have just been what he needed. He's a horse that shows a lot of ability, but sort of runs in snatches. Big baby type of horse, likes to hang in his. Then he wanted to hang out on his last start behind Master Archie. From the 2 draw, normally when a horse hangs, the first thing that I like to say is that he's looking for the bend. And I'm going to stick with my old remedies, or my old way of thinking. I think the bend is going to suit this horse big time, and I really believe the 1,200 meter definitely better than the 1,000 meters. So I definitely like him as I would have a few rand on him. I think it's a big price at 4-1. But the only horse that chaps haven't mentioned that I think maybe add in your pick 6 is quite a long shot, number 9, Silver Salmon. If you look at his first few runs, his first 2 runs, Short-Haired Cosmic Highway, and then you take a line, he beat Master Archie 3 1/4 lengths. And obviously, you can also see on his last run, Dice got beat 2.5 lengths to Master Archie. So a little bit of a roughie at 10-12-1 you might get at him in your pick 6. And that's the only reason being is because of that line of form. But if possible, I'll try and add in as many as possible. But the 2 horses that I really like is number 2, Dice, and number 8, Isi Bungu Bungu. I think that was a very good run in a grade 1 last time, but Silver Salmon being your best outside.
Thanks for that, Joe. Wrapping up the 4th race for us, the first leg of the pick stakes. Let's go to race number 5, which is the Taquini Stakes now, and it's a feature race for the 2-year-old fillies, of course. And here, number 7, Rain in Holland, and I'll go to Darryl. Rain in Holland's the even money favourite. I think she's very, very hard to beat on the day, Darryl. I mean, what's your take on it?
Yeah, Clyde. Besides her debut, when she got beaten on debut, extremely green on that occasion, hasn't put her foot wrong since then. She's unbeaten since then, 4 from 5. She's obviously improving with racing. And a lot of people are saying her later start, she was hard pressed. But remember, Sean Terry left a bit of meat on the bone on that occasion. He had this grade 1 in mind. He didn't want to be spot on last time. He wanted to be spot on come Saturday. And what even made that victory more impressive was she gave weight all round to her rivals. And she was having a prep run. So she's definitely the horse to beat. But it's not cut and dry there, Clyde. There are some up-and-coming fillies that you have to take note of. And I make her biggest danger Eternity Ring. Now, one might look at her form and say it's regressing, but I don't believe so. Just have a look at her penultimate start. She gave a filly called Desert Miracle 4 kilograms. And she finished within 3.5 lengths of her. I think that's a very decent effort. And last time out, she gave weight all round once again. I think she's going to be Rain in Holland's biggest danger, and I think she'll give her a run for money. I think that's a swinger and trifecta floaters in this race. Supreme Quest, I think she's flattered by the winning margin last time out. They went very quick. Her biggest rivals were drawn out wide. She just basically got a free run from a good draw. I'm concerned now that she's been stepped up to a mile. I've got my stamina doubts over her. And then possibly a filly to watch in future is Perfect Witness. Now, she came up on her connection. She won at big odds, but her breeding suggests she's going to love the step up in trip. My only concern with her is her inexperience might catch her out, but she may well prove very, very useful in time to come. I'm tipping Rain in Holland to beat Eternity Ring and the 1 Supreme Quest and Perfect Witness to fill up the trifecta.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I'll come to Darren now. Darren, for you, how would you assess Rain in Holland? I mean, the likes of Eternity Ring, can they topple Rain in Holland on the day?
Well, I don't think it's a very strong renewal of the race. And Rain in Holland does hold by far the best form in the race. She is going to be the horse to beat. I wasn't too impressed with her last start, but like Darryl said, they wanted to leave some meat on the bone. She won a good race. She's done nothing wrong. Her most impressive win to date was when she beat Smorgasbord. I labeled Smorgasbord that day, and she cruised past like he was standing still the final 200 meters. So she's the horse to beat. Over Eternity Ring, like Darryl said, she's given weight away in her last 2 starts to 2 decent sorts, Desert Miracle and Follow Me. And I think she's a massive runner, and she stays the mile, being by Ideal World out of a Fort Wood mare. Of the rest, Kayleen, she was staying on late behind Desert Miracle, but it was a blanket finish for the placings that day. So I'm not too sure how strong that form is. And then Supreme Quest, a Querari out of Supreme Lecture. I don't see her getting the mile. Honestly, if she gets the mile, she might run into the money. But for me, there's big stamina doubt, Supreme Quest. So for me, Rain in Holland and Eternity Ring, same as Darryl.
Those two. It's interesting, Joe, that when you have a look at this race, You look at Mark de Kock's filly, for example, like Bold Act, Desert Miracle not being in the race, which is quite an interesting call. But you wonder how good she is, and to compare her to the likes of Rain in Holland. Have you given that thought?
Yeah, I'll give it a big chance, Bold Act. And the only reason being, I think Mark de Kock did say after Desert Miracle's win on July Day that he was putting her away as a 3-year-old and going maybe for the Cape. I think the Cape, I would say the Fillies Guineas in Cape Town is a main target. So that's why I maybe at the back of his mind he's saying that he beat them so easy. Bold Act has been, I thought, it's been fairly impressive. To go to win a 1400, next start down to a 1160 and win again. So maybe he's got like a second bow to his string. So I definitely would add that in. Mark hasn't brought down a lot of horses for this champion season in Natal. And the ones that he has brought down, I think they've run fairly well. So you have to respect. Obviously, Rain in Holland, if she's going to get beat, Saturday's a day that she could get beat going forward. She's been impressive in 1 or 2 starts, and I haven't been overly impressive in the others. I agree with DARRYN once again behind Smogs. When she beat Smogsburg, I thought she was super, super impressive. The last start, I thought she labored a little bit. But in saying that, she was giving the Colts a little bit of weight as well. For me, I'm going against her. I believe the horse to beat is the horse that the chaps don't like, funny enough, Supreme Quest. I thought that the further she goes, the better. If you take her 1,000-meter starts, she's always come from way, way off them and always given me an indication that the further she goes, the better. If you look at her last 400 to finish times, it's always been either second or third fastest, if not the fastest. She should have an easier race last time in a weaker field, drawn 1. She had the run of the race, but she's drawn 1 again. Top jockey with Richard Fourie. I put the 3 horses in. I've copied everything else. I must be honest, I don't like Eternity Ring, but I could be completely wrong. But in saying that, DARRYL has found a line of form with Desert Miracle, and you've got to respect that. So for me, I've only gone 3 horses. I've gone 1, 7, and 9. But I thought Supreme Quest at the price, 7-2. And the way she won last time, I think she's massive value for me.
Okay, well, that's interesting, Joe, as far as Supreme Quest is concerned. I suppose it's probably to do with her mother's side, that stamina, if there isn't to be any stamina doubts, because she's out of a lecture mare, if you want to call it that.
Clyde, if anyone can tell me who Usain Bolt's grandmother is, tell me what.
I just remember lecture being a fantastic sprinting stadium, but a good sprinting stadium. I remember that. Okay, well, let's talk about yours. Let's talk about yours, Joe, in the 6th race now, the Premier's Champion Stakes, because this is where you step out. What could be absolutely anything in any time, champ, and perhaps you can elaborate a little bit about him. I think it was out there when you stepped him out first time that he was fancied. I don't know how strong he was in terms of your rating on him, but the word was out that he was a decent sort. Watch out, and watch him in the future. How good is this horse?
Now, Clyde, he could be the real deal. He was fancied very, very strong on his debut. I made no secret of it in my comments in the computer form. My statement was including all bets, which gives an indication that we fancied him very, very strong. Very unusual for me to win a race with the first timer. In my whole career, if I've won 10 with the first timers, it's been a lot. But this horse, as I say, could be the real deal. He does everything right. He's been tested. A lot of jockeys through the last 4, 5, 6 months have ridden him, and every single one has just come back and said, "Yo, Ferrari," or "move so well." He's a very, very good horse, and it's not my style to say go, win at 1160, 6 weeks later, come to a 1600 at Greyville around the turn. But the work he shows me and what he has, the ability I know he's got, I am going to gamble for probably the first time in my life to say that I'm hoping he's good enough to win. in saying that if I'm wrong and it does find him out, it's not the end of the world, because we've got obviously the August, September, maybe through October, where we don't race through the hard going, and he can always recover from that, from this run, and hopefully we can get the best out of him as a 3-year-old. It's a little bit of a gamble, or let me rephrase it. It's a gamble on my side, but I certainly wouldn't be gambling with a horse that is just an average horse. I think that he's got a very, very bright future ahead of him, and one of the nicest horses that I think I've trained in my career. He's up there. Some chaps have even said he's up there with the ability of Got the Greenlight, which is a massive statement to make.
Wow.
But as I say, he hasn't been tuned. He's been tuned up. Is he ready for this race? Is my worry. But he's a super mover. Musi goes mad for him, and we're really hoping for a massive run. So it's exciting, that we've got him down here.
Very interesting, Joe. You're no stranger to winning the Premier's Champion. I mean, the stable companion, if I can just pick your brain on Happy and Glorious,
Yes.
and is that how would you summarize?
No, Happy and Glorious. He can ignore his first 3 starts. We gelded him after his 3rd start, and there was the vet who gelded him said to me the amount of improvement to come from this horse will be phenomenal, because the testicles were definitely worrying him. His work from the time we gelded him to his last start was very, very, very impressive, and we actually made him close to a 5-star bed in our stable. The money was there were massive doubles going Happy and Glorious on to Got the Greenlight for the July. But in saying that, this horse keeps improving. He's more of a rough type of horse. He's more of he takes his work. He's a street fighter. He's had a lot of work. He has improved. Ability-wise, he's not in the same division, but he has had the experience of having his 5th start now and been around the turn 3 times in his career as well. I wouldn't leave him out. I think that it's not, as I say, racing certainly. I think there's 3 or 4 horses here you've got to respect. Obviously, Waterbury Lane, that just quickly the way he won last time, that he gave them starts. The way he finished, he should appreciate the 1600. And I like a little bit of a horse called William Robinson. I thought that he's quite impressive. He's quite a smart horse. So I think that he's also got a nice future ahead of him. And the last horse I just want to touch on is a horse called Good Traveller. I thought he had never had any luck in running in that race on July Day. He got caught wide. If they maybe tuck him in a little bit this time round, he might improve on Waterbury Lane. Difficult race, but it excites.
Very exciting indeed, and some great prospects as you've made reference to. I'll bring Darren in just quickly, just to ask Darren about this horse, William Robertson. Obviously, that last start, I mean, that Greyville was poor draw, 13-14, and much better draw in this time. Give him a chance, Darren, William Robertson.
Well, last time out, he was sweating up before the race, and I'm a bit worried about the mile being by Rafif. I could be wrong, but I am leaning towards other runners in this race.
Okay, what do you like?
I like the Soma runners, anytime champ, super impressive on debut, and you can see there's plenty more to come from him. He just had that touch of class about him on debut. And then Happy and Glorious. This horse has always caught my eye from day one. And when he ran his 2nd start, he really caught the eye. He's got a lovely action. He stayed on strongly behind Winter with Joe, that we actually saw win again today.
Yes, I saw
and then
that.
he followed it up he was a bit one-paced the following time. And then last time after the gelding, he won a super race. I've actually taken 10,000 to 600 because the more I studied this race, I thought with the experience under the belt, and he looks really progressive. So for me, the 2 Soma runners are my first 2 choices over Waterbury Lane, who's proven himself at this sort of level as a 2-year-old already. So, and he will see out the mile, no problem. And then Good Traveller, another one to consider with Safe Return, who stayed on really strongly over 1,400 meters to win a juvenile plate last time. And now he stepped up to a mile from a good draw.
Very interesting the way you summarised it there. And Daryl, I suppose Darren's got Joey worried now with Happy and Glorious taking on any champ and maybe going past him. Who knows? Daryl, what do you think?
Yeah, Clyde, I've narrowed it down to 4 runners. I've got my value bets in this race. It comes up with the Vaughan Marshall trained safe return. He didn't get the easiest of passages, the smoothest of passages last time out, but he still managed to get the job done. He was finishing his race off very smartly, and I think the step up in triple suits him. He strikes me as an individual that we haven't seen the best of him yet. I think there's still plenty more to come. And I also like Happy and Glorious. I love the improvements he made as a gelding. And he was given a chance, and he quickened so well, and he ran all the way to the line. He ought to have come on lengths from that start. And I love the fact that he's got the bend experience. He's had a few runs under his belt. So for that reason, I like the 2 of them. And then Healthy Respect for Anytime champ. He came to the track with a reputation, and he delivered for the connections and the supporters, and he was gutsy. But his inexperience might be against him. And then Waterbury Lane, we touched on him. I think he was assisted by the suicidal pace last time out. But he did finish his race off well, and he could possibly be better of this trip. But I like the look of Safe Return, Happy and Glorious, both had big odds, 20-1 and 16-1. My 3rd pick, Anytime champ.
Okay, very interesting. So there we go, Joe. You got the green light already from the guys.
I've got to get up earlier tomorrow to go and check the leave now for Happy and Glorious. I was going to sleep in tomorrow. I told you, Clyde, I'm with the elite here. I told you, with the Hall of Famers tonight.
Goodbye, all the 20-1. It's all gone. Okay, well, that's interesting. We go to now the Marshall's World of Sport Gold Cup. Talk about winter with Joe today. I mean, Joe, I hope you back that. I mean, there's an omen. In the first race of Turf and Teen on Thursday. How was that?
Yeah, it was.
There's an omen for us in the whole show, so everybody pay attention. But favourite at the moment in the Gold Cup is this horse Soma'S, who's currently trading at 33-10. Silver Host is at 9-2, the 13 horse. And then Joe, your horse, One African Adventure, who's currently at 6-1. And of course, that last start of his, I want to talk about there, because it seemed like, I don't like to say it, that he came up on you. I mean, because every horse goes out giving, but when they got the ability and they win like that, this horse has got an unbelievable 400 to the finish. He got the £5, which is, I don't know if it's unfortunate or not, but that's basically where he picked it up. So he carries top weight, but there's no doubt about his ability. I mean, we know where we stand with him, right?
Clyde, I'm laughing because of the £5. I think it was feel that we won with Got the Green Light. They could have used Orpheus, so they just decided to give him £5 for beating Orpheus or Short Dead or so. So they used the 3rd horse, which I was a little bit aggravated about, but I didn't feel like going through the whole rigmarole of appeals. And I think that worries me because obviously 2.5 kilo penalty for, he's been a tough horse, and we've run him, right through the season. He's run like around 1 a month, 1 every 6 weeks, but over long distances. And he pulled up sore when, was it in the Gold Bowl? It was sticky going that day, and really into the Sunday morning when we got to the yard, he wasn't happy at all. So obviously we had to ease back on him. At times in training racehorses, enforced rest is the best thing that can happen to horses. And I said, let's give him 1 run. A lot of blokes said, maybe come down for the Gold Vase or for, that race. And I just felt he wasn't quite ready for that kind of race. We'll give him a run over 1,800. And we collected a first price check of, I think it was, 30-odd thousand rand for a gallop. It really surprised me over 1,800 because I thought the older he gets, he's definitely looking for more and more ground. He's got a lot of class, this horse. If it was turpentine, I'd tell you to empty out. Chokes aside, 60 kilos or not, I would tell you empty out. The course worries me. Obviously, the weight's got to worry me. He's got it all to do, but he's fit, he's well, and it sounds weird, but he's improved from that run on July Day to now. His work has definitely got stronger, and he's a fitter horse than he was, a month ago. So I'm expecting a big run from him, but it is a hard ask. Is GREYVILLE going to suit him? I'm not 100% certain. So we've got to take our chances. He's the highest rated stayer in the country. He's won us 6 races for this season. The older he gets, the better he seems to be getting. It'll be great if he wins, but I certainly wouldn't be disappointed if he doesn't. I felt that there's only one other horse in the race myself, was Silver Host. I think he's had the most beautiful prep of all since he's come down to KwaZulu-Natal for his season. There's only one race that Justin has earmarked, and I'm looking at it. I was a little bit aggravated with that he went for. I was hoping he goes to Gold Vast, but he went the Durban Console, the Commentator, or whatever it's called, and I think that was the key. So I think Silver Host definitely the horse to beat. Nabras, if you like Nabras at 3-1. Got a lot before noon who was third in that race at 33-1. How strong was that race? Holy Warrior second or third, whatever it was. So I know, I thought for me, only 2 horses, Silver Host, African Adventure. I'm going to respect Nabras because Sean Terry, you had certainly won well. And if you're looking for quartet, I thought Shatenga was the other horse in the race. I thought she's well weighted, stays well, and also from a top yard and a good jockey riding. So those are my 4 horses, but in the Big 6, I've gone 1, 13, and 14.
Okay, interesting, confident and fighting talk about African Adventure. No surprise that he's improved because he's a top star. No doubt about it.
No, it wasn't fighting talk, Clyde. Don't put words in my mouth. It wasn't fighting talk. I said I'm worried. I'm not.
No, you're not worried. You're not worried. He's improved.
I'm worried, my brother.
You're worried about
race over.
You've had more serious worries in your life, so this is not a worry. Don't worry about it. Don't stress. Let me ask Darren to come in, or let me bring Daryl first before Darren, because I want to chat to Darren about the 8th race as well. Daryl, so Gold Cup sometimes throws massive results. I mean, how did you, when you studied this particular race, what did you make of it?
Clyde, I think the HOLLYWOODBETS 2200 form line is stronger than the Gold Vase form line. I think Silver Host brings stronger form in than the Brass. So Silver Host is definitely my first pick. He's a Savannah and he's currently racing off his highest rating, which means he's obviously still on the upgrade. So very, very healthy respect for Silver Host. My biggest concern with African Adventure, it's not the weight, Clyde. I'm not worried about the weight. He can carry that weight. For me, it's the track and the draw, because he's not one that's going to race up handy up on the pace. So he's going to have a good few horses come around him, and he might be snookered on that fence, and he's got a short straight to run them down. But you know what? I don't know what Joey did last time. For him to, maybe he's freshened him up or concentrated more on speed. For him to win over 1800, it just shows you that he can turn it on. So very, very healthy respect for the highest rated horse, that's African Adventure. But I do believe Silver Host is the one to beat. I want to touch on Jatengo. She was very, very disappointing last time out, and Gavin Lorena got off from that ride, and he said if he could have done something differently, he would have looped them and taken it up. So don't be surprised to see her race up on the pace. And you know what? She's won when we haven't fancied her at the past, when she's had it all to do. And she's very gutsy, and she's not badly in at the weights of a year. So she's in my top 4, Shatengo. I'm going to tip Silver Host to beat Shatengo, African Adventure, and Bayberry back and forth.
Okay, interesting. Thanks, Daryl. Darren, I'll bring you in as to your summary of the Marshall's World of Sport Gold Cup, where they bet 33 to 10 the field. Is it open, more open than that, or are you also going to narrow it down?
Well, my first choice is actually Favor, but the pace of this race is going to be interesting. I think out of your leagues, the only one that really goes, and if it's like last year when Parts of Victory won, they went an absolute crawl and then it turned into a sprint. So I'm hoping the pace is genuine. Favor, his first start over this sort of trip. He's a member in Seattle out of Carnival Girl. I think he'll see out the trip, no problem. And, you know, he holds Silver Host on that Lonsdale run behind Black Nap. I think he was a length and 3/4 ahead of Silver Host. And I think he's really going to relish this trip. So for me, Favor's the value in the race. Over African Adventure is the best horse in the race, and he's the best stayer in the country. But I'm just not sure about this track. I don't think it's going to suit him, but I think he'll be staying on either way towards the finish, and he should be involved in the finish. Silver Host, an up-and-coming stayer in the making. He's decent. He carries the weight, but he's good enough to feature. And then Nebras on his good last win over the 3,000-meter trip. It brings him right into the race.
Okay, so that's interesting. Favors at any, well, what is it, 16-1 at the moment as an outsider. Nice one for the trifectas and quartets. Let's go to the 8th race on the card now, and I'll stay with you, Darren. And let's have a look at the running of the Mercury Sprint here quickly over the 1,200 meters, where Rio Carrari is top of the boards and currently priced up at 19-20, maybe even money, maybe back to 9-10. I know you watch the betting as it goes. MK's Pride 10-1, basically betting 10-1 bar one. Rio Carrari, hard overs on the day, hard to beat, or what's your take?
Yes, I'm sure it's overs, Clyde. You know, I was waiting for the draws to come out, and I thought if he cracked a good draw between 1 and 5, nothing's going to come close to him. He's so progressive. In his last 4 starts, he's just gotten better and better and better. And a GREYVILLE 1,200, I think he'll sit just off the pace, and he's got an electrifying turn of foot. My second choice is Casimir. They removed the cheek pieces last time out, and he settled better, and he ran on really strongly. But he's also going to have a couple of lengths to find from that draw. So for me, Rio Carrari, 1-horse race.
Darryl, the same for you, Rio Carrari, 1-horse race, or is there something else?
Yeah, Clyde, what I love about him is he's able to settle in running. He can just come out softly and just let the scrum happen in front of him, and he can just watch them all going mad, and he can run them down. He's got a devastating turn of foot. We saw him produce that in the computer form sprints. I think he's even better of the 1,200. So he's the highest rated. Only concern is he has been off for a couple of weeks, but that's a grade 1. He'll be spot on come race day. He's the best sprinter in the country. And I'll make his biggest danger his stable companion, Casimir. He showed good signs of life that he's not too far off his best again. And he turned it on last time. So I don't believe I don't believe anything can reverse that form with him. I don't think MK's Pride suited to this GREYVILLE track. I think he's better on a more galloping track. And I've got some respect for Bohica to finish into the money. He's obviously improved with the blinkers, but he's well held by Rio Carrari. So I'm going to tip Rio Carrari from Casimir, same exact as Darren.
Joe, just to ask you, will you be taking 9-10 or even money about Rio Carrari?
Actually, I thought he'd be shorter, to be quite honest. I thought he was super impressive in his races. He's got better and better. I'm going to tell you chaps a quick story. I know in a short of time, but we were walking off the race course after the last race on July Day. Justin Snaith was sitting on these wooden benches at the bottom, and he had 2 horses galloping. And I recognized Rio Carrari as one of them. And I tell you what, he galloped like an absolute superstar. But I'm normally not one who talks out of line, but once you bring a horse to a public a place to gallop, then it's everyone's business to open your mouth. Very good gallop. I'm sure he's looking at 8-10. I thought he'd be. I said earlier I thought he'd be shorter, but they are betting 9-10-1 bar the one. So I think very hard to beat. Probably the closest to the banker of the day. If you're looking for anything else or looking for exotics, I thought massive price. You'll probably get closer to 20-1 Chimichurri Run. The only reason why I say that is he has got the draw 1, and his last run was a very good run, even though it was over a mile. But if you do look, he's finished 3 lengths behind Rio Carrari in the 1,000 meters of computer form sprint. He's always had a touch of class about him. Casimir, obviously, great respect, being a top Group 1 winner. And the chaps have summed up the rest. MK's Pride, I think, better, more galloping track. One or two others might be there, but I think it'll definitely be fought out. 3 to win it, 1 to run second, and I think 11 Casimir to run third. Either bank a real Ferrari or you go field, one or the other. But
Yeah. One of those plays. Excellent. Thanks.
Class horse.
Thank you, Joe. The Hong Kong Jockey Club, obviously, with the commingling of the pools, and that's the World Pool Champions Cup. This is obviously where got the green light. NZ season currently at 11 to 10. Number 9, Do It Again, is a 2-1 as the second choice, both coming out of the Vodacom Durban July. Jet Dark is at 7 to 1, and Catch 22 is at 8 to 1. So let me stay with you, Joe. Let's talk about Got the Green Light, whom, when you go back to the race of the Vodacom Durban July, always, at the end of the day, that's one of the races where you always hear about what happened afterwards. But when you summarize it, these 2 horses in particular, Got the Green Light and Do It Again, were unlucky. And perhaps Got the Green Light was just a tad out of his ground in that, it's not really where you wanted him to be turning for home. It ended up that way, unfortunately. And he made up the ground, moving up very, very strongly, like he was going to go past and win. The other point about him is they say, well, you know what, the 1800 is ideal for Got the Green Light, particularly at Greyville. But you're his best friend, so tell us what you think.
He's my cousin, never mind my best friend.
It's your blood. Your blood.
But horse racing is horse racing. We all know the rules, and there's a great old saying that you need luck in running and no excuses. At the end of the day, I thought 2 very good horses beat us in COMMENTATOR and Linebacker. I think a lot of people I've heard and have told me straight to my face, a lot of people said I should have given him a run in between. The 2 months cost me the race. I said, it's easier said than done. We do what we have to do, what we see at the time. And if I had the chance again, I'd do exactly the same thing. In the race itself, at one stage of the race, we found ourselves stone lost. And whatever happened, he ended up going wide from the 1400. His race started, and he never ever said, he never ever got any luck in running from the 1400 onwards. I've obviously looked at the race quite a few times. To get beat 3/4 of a length in a July, and turn around and say that you should have done this, or this happened, or that happened, I walk away and say, shoot, job well done. It's not easy to win July. It's not a race. And people think it's just another race, but I don't know, just maybe jockeys, trainers, we all get caught up in the buzz of the July. So he's running 2 Julys. He's got beat 3/4 of a length in 2 Julys, both from a 13 off and 14 draw. He's never had the luck in running. So that is the past. It is what it is. Hopefully we can keep him sound and strong enough for next year's July, but that we'll worry about when the time comes. We can only worry about what's going to happen on Saturday. Once again, like you said, he's my cousin. I certainly would never be running this horse if I felt if there was any chink in his armor. Obviously, we love the horse. He's done us very, very well. He's come out of the July. I haven't done a lot with him. Honestly, I've been playing with him. He's just blossomed. And in saying that, we did look after him in the first half of the season. He's only having his 5th start as a 4-year-old. So I think he's up to it. He's doing well, but in saying that, he's also now carrying level weights with 2.5 kilos worse off with Do It Again. He was also, I thought, very unlucky, the 2 unlucky horses in the July. So I think that you've got to respect that. So he's still got to up his game a little bit more. If we just get I think the pace he's going to be on. If it's not, a little bit of luck in running, and I think you might see the true Got the Green Light running on Saturday. I really believe that he's up to it. People say, does he stay? I disagree. I think he'll stay at 2-4 myself, but it's neither here or there. It's 1800 meters Saturday. It's a good race. I think we've got, what I see here, we've got 3 Group 1 winners. You've got July, 2 times July winner, Do It Again. You got a 5-time winning Group 1 winner, got the Greenlight, and you got a Queen's Plate horse in the race, Jet Dark. Would be nice, 1 or 2 of those other ones there. But in saying that, he's well. If you like him, you can have a good bet on him. If you're looking to beat him, I will understand and say there's reasons why the people aren't fancying him because of the Do It Again factor, Jet Dark factor, and whoever else. But I've come to Durban to win the race, so I'm banking him in everything, and I'm going to enjoy the race this time around.
Fantastic, Joe. Horses travelled well and all good.
At this stage, he's a professional traveller. Only one person travels the horse better than me, and that's Toby Spies. But I'm not in that league.
Been around.
He knows his way to Durban, this also to Summervelds, yeah. But it all gone well. Everything's gone well. No excuses. We have to take our chances. As I say, he's only having his fifth start on Saturday, so we certainly haven't over-raced him. He's still fresh. He's still looking well. He's still got his that look of a champion, look of an eagle. And as I say, if there was any doubt in my mind, I certainly wouldn't be bringing him here on Saturday just for the sake of running.
Joe, thank you for that. And yeah, I think also very, very hard to beat. Darren, I don't know if you've seen this horse in the flesh, but I must tell you, he's one of the most, if not the most imposing looking individual you'll ever see in a parade ring or cantering down. He's a lovely, lovely looking horse in the flesh. I don't know if you've ever been close up to him or not, Darren, but he's really a handsome horse.
No, I haven't seen him up close. Actually, I was at the course when he ran at Kenilworth. I think it was against Count Jack that day. I was on course, but I didn't see him close up. Got the Greenlight, always gives of his best. The pace in the race, you got Seeking the Stars that only knows one thing, and that's to go flat out, and Crown Towers to make the pace for Do It Again. If there was no pace in the race, I would say Got the Greenlight is a banker, but the fact that there's going to be a decent pace by the looks of things, it brings Do It Again right into the race. He's going to stay on really strongly off a fast pace. If it was a slow pace, Do It Again's a little bit one-paced, the same as last year, where he never really got into it. But he is a better horse this year, and he was unlucky in the July as well. So for me, I can't split Got the Greenlight and Do It Again. I think they're going to be running on strongly. Got the Greenlight's got more of a burst of acceleration compared to Do It Again but I think they'll finish very close together. Jet Dark, he pulled a bit hard his first run back, and I wasn't happy with that. And if he pulls again over the 1800-meter trip, he's going to find nothing the final 200 meters. So I'm going with Do It Again and Got the Greenlight.
All right, just the two for you then. Okay, and Darryl, how do you see it?
Yeah, Clyde, on paper, you have to be in favor of Do It Again. He's 2.5 kilograms better off. And one will say, well, he was unlucky in the July. But you know what? Got the Greenlight, found himself in a hopeless position in my point of, not of any fault of the jockey. It just happened to pan out the way it did. And he was hopelessly out of his ground. He turned it on magnificently, and he just got caught out that last 50 meters. I thought that was a cracking effort. And you know what? The drop-in trip has to be in Got the Greenlight's favor. The fact that Got the Greenlight more than likely is going to turn into the straight ahead of Do It Again. And with his devastating turn of foot, I don't see Do It Again quickening past Got the Greenlight. For me, Got the Greenlight, the best bets on the card.
Okay, interesting. All right, and we're all hoping, of course, that Summer putting her finale tomorrow or on Saturday as well in the gold race with the 10th race. I think she's 9 to 10 or something to that. All hoping that she ends well. Here's a look at the bipot now, and let's just have a quick look as far as this is concerned. The bipots are 960 Rand per. Those are the numbers at HOLLYWOODBETS GREYVILLE to take your bipot on Saturday. The next one we want to show you is the pick six that's come from the Weighted to Win team that they have worked out. They're napping Ria Karari over there, and they're playing it safe at the back. It's a 2,304 Rand per or 203 Rand for 10%. That's the pick six that we show you. Here's a quick look. Darren, you want to just take us through your slide?
So my best bet will be the champion sprinter, Ria Karari. I really do expect him to win in style. on Saturday. And then my value bet is in the Gold Cup favor. I think he's really going to step up his game over the 3,200 meter trip.
Okay, and at any price too. Daryl, got the Greenlight best bet, one of your best bets on the card.
Yeah, he's my best bet on the card, got the Greenlight. And my value bet, I've actually got, I'm considering Dutching in the Premier's Champion Stakes, Clyde, both 20-1, safe return and happy and glorious. I think they're both worth a bet at big odds.
Okay, nice. Also, double floating trifectas. Who knows what ends up there? The last time we suggested that double floating quartet arrived. The weighted to win double, that's Daryl's best bet and Darren's best bet. Ria Karari into Got the Greenlight, 33-10. You probably get more race time, I think. So there's something for you to concentrate on. Joe's given us his pick six. And it's just a suggested recommended pick six you could add or take out to do whatever you like, Joey. And obviously taking Got the Greenlight at the back as your banker. It's a 900 Rand perm and 90 Rand at 10%.
Yeah, Clyde, just wanted, just tell the chaps there that it's a 15 million Rand pool. So that one of the few chances we get where you can make a few Rand at decent money. But listening to Daryl and Darren as well, they've tipped some horses that make a lot of sense. But adding around this pick six that I've worked out, it's 900 Rand, you're going to outlay a few Rand. And as I say, if you beat Rio Quirari, I put some horses there, trying to look for the big one, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the chaps and listen to one or two of the horses that they've tipped, because I'm looking at a horse like Favor, and I see, and Darren makes a lot of sense why it's got a chance, and one or two horses that Daryl has mentioned as well. So if you add those in, you're giving yourself fair chance to really try and collect a decent money and start the new season off with a few Rand in the bank.
Thank you, Joe. Got it. We got those numbers. Thanks very much for that. Fortunately, last weekend, Joe, you probably won't know it, but we happened to collect on the double on the Shrewdy bet of the day. So don't laugh at me now, but I'm going race 4 dice to win the 4th, taking it head on, into Rain in Holland to win the 5th, into Got the Greenlight to win the 9th. I think that's a 25 or 33 to 1 treble. But that's for the guys to have a look at. Remember that we're always around Friday nights, Saturdays. You can enjoy the show. And thank you very much from the team. And of course, to you, Joseph, for joining us in Durban. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. And it was an interesting one, too, with our regular guests, as in Daryl and Darren, or the team. And we really wish you everything of the best of the weekend. Do me a favor, don't forget your computer form, because they told me you forgot your computer form when you went to the races the other day. Please take your computer form with you.
Yeah, it's not right, Clyde. There's no more racing tools, Clyde. When we were Darren's father and Daryl's uncle James and your father Jeffrey would have killed us if we went to the race course without our racing tools.
Why did you leave your book? Where's your book?
The computer form.
Why did you leave it alone?
Form.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we got to understand. I'm making a plea to KwaZulu Gold Circle, to HOLLYWOODBETS. I get inundated with calls every time I'm going to go on a show. Please go back to the old format of the computer form. Us old hardened punters, don't worry about draw, we worry about weight. That's the first thing that we worry about. Please go back to the old computer form, boys. Listen to your punter, listen to your customer. Secondly, can we not get the computer forms printed out? Can't it come back into circulation? This is ridiculous the way we're carrying on to play this game.
Okay,
no, really,
they told me that someone said you left it behind. I thought they were joking.
And it cost me a lot of money as well, Clyde.
Yes. Okay, I get it
back
now.
to Osa, it was number 13, and then I ended up, it was drawn 13. It was supposed to be turpentine.
I've got you now. I understand.
But I just want to say well done, Daryl. Darren, thank you very much for having us on your show as well. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we made some sense along the way and give the punters some form of guide, because that's all it is, a guide to make a few Rand on a Saturday, and hope that the horses come back safe, everyone gets a fair run, and all the horses come back safe. And really and truly, chaps, keep up the great work. Really enjoy your shows, and thanks once again for having me on your show. All the best, chaps.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much. I
Darryl.
really appreciate it.
Thank you very much indeed. That's great. And well done to all of the participants, end of season, all of those who've been part of it. Wish you everything of the best, and may it be a great season for you when we're back next time in the next season, the 2021-2022. Can you believe where we are already? It's actually scary. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great one. Joe, look after Sandy, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Thanks,
Go,
Joe.
Joe, your
Cheers,
baby.
Thanks, Jeff.